I can tell you that I've seen everything from 3 pages stapled together to mine used to be 300 and something pages. But we also had a 4 week staff training. So, look, I think where to start for me right now, if I were in May and I didn't have anything yet, or I was trying to massage a bunch of materials together, my first thought would be, how do I want people to use this? And I think you actually have two different things here. You have a policy manual and you have a staff training manual. So your policy can be a document that lives on paper or as a PDF or in a Dropbox or however you want. And that covers your policy and procedure. Your staff training manual doesn't even have to be on paper, but if it is, it's really more of the reflection prompts. It's what you want staff to learn. It's how you want them to be different after doing your training than before. And so you can refer in that kind of workbook style, or, that's where you include articles or things you want people to read. You can refer to that and say, like, this section corresponds to policies 1 through 7 in the policy manual, but handing somebody a binder or a document, or like my favorite was like the comb binding, with the plastic cover and it's all very fancy. With
Get
the
a paper cut on
leatherette
that. It's the
back,
worst.
right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we all have, like I have boxes of them from different camps. Um, is that you don't need to give someone, a 4 page sexual harassment policy, um, and ask them to carry it around all summer. I don't think. So that would be my
Correct.
first thing, is to separate policy and procedure from training process. And then ask yourself, with regards to the training process, how do you want to use this material? Is this something you want them to show up to every um, activity during staff week with? Or is this something that you want them to get a folder and you're going to hand out an individual reflection worksheet or document at each training? Or are you going to skip paper altogether? And so I guess I would think first from the conceptualization of what you want to do with it and not worry as much initially about what's in it.
Hmm. It's funny to you're saying this. I'm reading Maura's question about um, uh, about should the handbook be sent over when the contract sent? I just want to show this quick data point. We survey staff all the time, meaning do a lot of strategic planning. We also survey our industry all the time. So I asked camp directors what they thought of their own onboarding process 2 years in a row. And you could see here that only 15% of people were happy with their onboarding process. Frankly, if you're not happy with it, your staff aren't happy with it. So when we talk about the handbook, I think it's everything. It's very funny. Like I actually take in some aspects that our staff want to be trained more so than ever before. They want to know the shortcuts, but I think you have to make these things useful. And I think you, Emily, you really kind of hit a great aspect here, saying if there's a difference between policy and procedure and actually training, and you could do both, and that's the kind of key aspect of it. Um, yeah.
I feel like a handbook is really for your policies, right? Like your staff handbook is like, here's what to do. And you're like, I feel like the material you go through during staff training is almost a journal or a reflection document, or that sort of thing. And I guess with the question of like, should it be gone over when the contract is sent? I feel really strongly that if someone is signing their contract, it says in the fine print that they've read the policies and procedures and they understand their responsibilities, which means that there should be a hot link. If it's an electronic document, there should be a link in that document. So it says, like, I've read the policies and procedures, and policies and procedures should be like a hyperlink to a document that lives, on your server or in your website or whatever, that literally lists all of them, so that someone isn't just signing it and being like, yeah, I totally understand the policies and procedures. I think that kind of stuff has to happen when they sign a contract. But I also think it can be really overwhelming to send them a handbook in February or March, or let's be honest, May, when they don't have the why and the socialization yet of the camp, and they're not in the like mission, values, goals, objectives, who's the camper kind of spirit that we create at staff training. And you just like picture them, like, not that they're doing it anyway, but like sitting on their couch at home reading 14 pages deep into like, on Sundays, every cabin needs to be cleaned with a broom, and you'll find the cleaning supplies in closet number 17 in a building you've never heard of. Like, that's overwhelming. I feel like that's going to turn people off. So, my feeling would be like, that's not something to share ahead of time.
Yes.
But, I mean, Dan, I'm curious what you.
Yeah, it's funny. I think everything goes back to feeling. You want your staff to feel excited, right? So if you send your staff something that's a phone book, they're gonna, if they're new, they're gonna try and read it. And then you meet them the first time and you're like, oh, you didn't have to read that thing. Nobody reads that thing. Does that leave them feeling good? No, that makes me hate you. I just wasted so much time in that, right? So like I think you have to be intentional about how you're dropping this out. And I don't, I wouldn't get caught in the semantics of what's in what pages on what pages where, as much as I would get caught in the distribution and, feeding it to them in the right cadence and then making sure that they have access to it. Like I'm hearing more folks about, um, putting it into AI, like Notebook LLM, and then you can have it so people can just use it as a reference document, right? But again, I know some people are not pro AI, but like this is how people are thinking today, right? And as Maddie was making fun of me for saying ChatGPT over Claude, like the technology is moving so fast, right? So like it's fascinating when we start getting into it, but I think it's about meeting where people are at. I think your staff will remember how you make them feel, and I think they want to feel confident day one. So that's the mindset you should have. I'm